What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to make a video on my Jinma 284 on winter preparation. Just walk you through my basic routine and what I do to get it prepared for the winter. So, hope you find this helpful. So with this tractor, there's a few different things I check going into the winter season. I want to check my oil, my coolant, transmission fluid, hydraulic fluid, diesel fuel, everything. Check the whole tractor once over, sometimes twice over. One thing I highly recommend that you pay attention to is your coolant levels. Here in Pennsylvania, we average about 85 degrees on a summer day. When my tractor's idling, not moving, the temperature is about 165 degrees. Pulling a grade with a load, I can get it up to about 170, on a warmer day 175. The coolant systems on these tractors aren't pressurized, and it doesn't have a reservoir in your coolant system. If there's too much in there, it pushes it out an overflow tube close to your radiator cap. So now that it's in the cold, starting to transition over to fall and winter, we average about 30-degree days in the winter. We did the other day, I had the tractor out moving my boat to winterize it. So it's done for the season. On about a 30-degree day, running the tractor at idle, not doing anything, just sitting there running, even at high idle, about 1,500 RPM. Because in the winter, I do high idle it a lot. I will be. This is the first winter I've had it. On cold days, it doesn't like to warm up. It gives me a little bit of trouble starting, but that's every diesel engine. I recommend, before you starting, cycling your glow plugs for about 10 to 15 seconds. It'll make it a lot easier to start up. My garage stays about 55 degrees year-round, but it's not covered yet, my vents. So at night, it gets pretty cold in the garage, so it makes it very hard for the tractor to turn over. Idling at high idle, about 1,500 RPM. The tractor maintained about 150 degrees. Running, uphill with a load, about 15 degrees warmer, but 165. That's my normal idle temperature right there. So I wanted to top off the coolant for the winter season, because it's not going to get as hot, so it's not going to push it out, and it's going to need more. Mine was maybe, sorry about that, mine was about a half a quart to a quart low. Just, I keep an eye on it. It doesn't use it. It was until I replaced my head gasket. It just pushes it out on hot days. So I'd highly recommend changing that. Checking it, I'm sorry. Other than that, there's not really much you have to do. I will be taking my drawbar off my 3-point hitch and putting my 5-foot grader blade on. In the wintertime, I will be using that. I don't have a front loader yet. And doing snow removal, the only thing that I have capable of doing snow, I have a 1989 12G Gravely garden tractor with a snow plow, and I have this tractor. I'm going to put my 5-foot grader blade on, and I can also use this. It'll be a huge improvement from the Gravely because this is 4-wheel drive. With the Gravely, it really hasn't gotten stuck, but it's only 2-wheel drive. I do have directionals and chains on it, but it does make it a little bit of a pain. Other than that, there's not really much left to do. Very, very simple. Haven't gotten it stuck yet. It's raining here in Pennsylvania today, so my driveway's all mud. And 4-wheel drive, you shouldn't have a problem with these tractors. They have, in 2-wheel drive, there's not really a lot of back weight. I do have wheel weights on my tractor, but even with those, it doesn't have a lot of traction in the rear. On the front is another story, because of the motor and the transmission, all the components in the front end, all your weight's right there in the front end. So in 4-wheel drive, this thing has no issues climbing. I just did it flawlessly, didn't spin. You just want to be careful when you're using 4-wheel drive. The previous owner of this tractor was telling me he snapped a few hubs in the front axle of this tractor. He said they're only about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch thick. So he said if you're at full lock, or you're turning pretty tightly, and you go from mud onto dirt. Mud to like a hard surface, gravel, compacted gravel, asphalt, pavement, anything. It'll grab and it'll snap that axle. He said he's replaced 3 of them on this tractor since he bought it brand new in 2005-ish, around there. Because we're not exactly sure on the year of this tractor. I know it's a late 90s, I think 1998 or 99 to 2005. Based on the engine, the Y385. Those are only offered from, like I said, 98 or 99 to 05. He said, just be very careful with your four-wheel drive in the front end. They're built good. Just the shafts are smaller, so they snap really easy. So you just got to be careful with those. I don't think I'm going to get a block heater for this. Like I said, it stays in the garage year-round. My garage is heated as well in the wintertime. And it really never drops below 55 unless something happens, like, one of the vents gets uncovered somehow, something like that. But what I do recommend in the wintertime, with my tractor, the way the hydraulic steering is in this, once I start it up, it has no steering. Well, very little, and it's very hard to steer. You can turn your wheel 2 revolutions to the left before it starts turning. Now, it's not just mine. I'm a member of multiple forums on Facebook and online with Jinma tractor owners, and it's every Jinma tractor. It's just how the hydraulic steering is made. So, especially in the wintertime, it's because all the hydraulic fluid, there's no hydraulic pressure yet, and you got to think, in the wintertime, all your fluids are going to be thicker. The viscosity is going to be a lot more. It's going to have a higher viscosity, and it's not going to want to flow as easily. So, what I do, every time I start this tractor up, I pull it out my garage and sit right outside my garage door. I let it sit there for about 5 minutes idling, because it's not very good for the engines to high idle them right away. By doing that, you can introduce the engine to a lot more premature wear, especially with the bearings and the seals, because they're not warm, and if you high idle it, you're going to get a lot more friction on those components where there's not oil to yet, stuff like that. So after about 5 minutes, I bring the tractor down the hill to a nice level spot in my driveway where my boat and my trailer sit, and I let it high idle for about 15 minutes. After then, one finger, you can turn this tractor. It's very easy after it gains pressure in the hydraulic system. So in the wintertime, you might have to let it sit a little bit longer. Don't be alarmed if it doesn't want to steer right away. It's just the way the steering's set up on these tractors. Also, with these tractors, make sure to keep everything lubricated. Especially, of course, the major components, but also make sure you get all your grease fittings. There's one on the clutch pedal underneath, one on each brake pedal, the steering box, the front hubs, 3-point hitch system. There's a lot of grease fittings on this tractor. You want to make sure you get all of those for the winter. And I suggest any time that you're out running this tractor in the snow or the rain, when you put it back in the garage, put a pump of grease in each fitting. Just if it get any moisture in it, it'll push that moisture out with the grease. That way you don't experience any rust or corrosion inside your fittings. And, well, not in your fittings, but in those components, like in your hubs or anything like that. It's a good practice. Grease is a lot cheaper than some of the components that would get ruined from moisture on these tractors. So, that's my suggestion. One's pretty full on the tractor right now. And that's because I just put some in yesterday. It's a little bit low, but that's, like I said, once it gets up to this point, you see that little white fitting right there? It comes out of the radiator to an overflow and just drips down onto your axle. Gotta make sure you keep that checked. And in the winter season, check your hoses. I can't express this enough. In the wintertime, they get hard and they'll crack, and you don't want to be using your tractor and then have a radiator hose blow and you're just stuck there with no coolant and you crack your block. Now, I'm sure you'd see the coolant leaking out, but sometimes there's too much going on, you really don't notice it, or you don't notice your gauge, stuff like that. Make sure all your hoses are good. Now, the top radiator hose on this needed replated when I restored it So I replaced the top one. On the other side, and that hose I was able to get at AutoZone. This bottom radiator hose, it's still in good shape. It's not hard. It's starting to get a little bit hard now, so I might replace that soon before snowfall. I'm not sure about this one. I'm assuming you could probably get this one, but if not, Kino Tractors, great bunch of guys. I go to them for everything. You can get it through them. That top one, it's just a standard small radiator hose with a 90-degree turn in it. I'm sure you could get that in any auto parts store. Those shouldn't be hard to get in. Another thing I did with this tractor, in the wintertime, since fuel will gel up and all that in your diesel, which this tractor, I'll get to that soon, has a pretty good way of preventing that. I picked up some Lucas diesel fuel treatment. It's an injector cleaner, an engine cleaner. It cleans all the soot and carbon deposits out of your engine. This is both for gasoline and diesel engines. So I put that in my engine, in my diesel tank. It says 2 ounces treats 10 gallon. Well, it's only about a 5-gallon tank in this tractor, and I put 2 ounces in. I overtreated it. Overtreating it's not going to hurt it. It says right on the bottle, and I looked it up. Nothing to worry about. And I figured since this is my first time putting it in, and it, you know, the injectors, these are the original injectors in this engine, I thought I'd overtreat it and really clean up the top end of the engine. After about 15-20 minutes of it running at high idle, I noticed a huge improvement with the tractor. Before, I was getting a lot of smoke, both a lot of black smoke on startup. Revving, I would get some black smoke and some gray smoke and white smoke. It was a mixture. After I put that additive in, I noticed a huge difference. It wasn't smoking as much. It sounded healthier. Before, I noticed that the tractor would kind of shake, rattle, and roll. Now the song's stuck in my head. I hear it going over my head now. But after I put that in, the engine seemed to run a lot smoother. It's not loping anymore. It had a little bit of a lope to it. Now it doesn't. I think my injectors were just dirty, and that cleaned it right up. Interesting about diesel fuel gelling up in the winter. From your tank, it comes right down in the fitting to your water separator bowl, with a shut-off valve behind the throttle linkage. Next, the fuel goes to your injection pump. It will go through the bottom end of your injection pump, into your fuel filter, back down into your injection pump, through the pump, into the fuel rail. What's nice about the way this tractor is set up, if you look into the top of the fuel rail, it follows your injectors, and then you have a small little return line. Here it is, sorry. And this return line leads back into your tank. See, it's not a big line because there's not a lot of excess fuel that goes back in there. What's nice about the way this is set up, in the wintertime, from the friction of your diesel fuel going through your fuel system, especially through the fuel pump, it slightly heats up your diesel fuel, and there's always going to be a steady amount of diesel going back in through your return line. So to warm up all the diesel that's in your tank to make sure that it doesn't gel up and clog your fuel system. Right now I'm running summer grade fuel into this tractor. I only fuel this tractor maybe once every month. I don't use it too much. Most of the work I do with this tractor is pulling that trailer or moving the boat in my backyard if it needs to, which this boat weighs a lot, and it's a 1995 Crown Line Cuddy Cruiser with a 350 Chevy. It weighs a lot. It's a 22-foot cuddy cabin, and this moves it like it's nothing. But I don't do that a lot, and a lot of the tractor does is it pulls a utility cart that I load lawnmowers and stuff in to cut grass around town for people. So, and that doesn't even realize it's back there. It's not a lot of weight. So it doesn't use a lot of diesel fuel. I fill it up maybe once every month and a half. Sometimes I can go 2 months without getting diesel. I'm not too concerned about it gelling up. One, because I put the additive in it. And two, it sits in my garage and never really gets below 55 degrees. Shortly, I will be using this a lot more because winter season, I will be pulling people out You know, I might be pulling people out that get stuck in the snow. I know a lot of people that only have 2-wheel drive cars around here in the hill on the mountain. You know, Goat Mountain, as my family calls it here in rural Pennsylvania. So next time I need fuel, it'll definitely be winter blend fuel, but I'm not too concerned about it gelling up. Like I said, it's in my garage. I hope you found this video useful. Sorry that I haven't posted in a long time, guys, but I really have been doing a lot of work around the house, finish up projects before winter, and there's nothing I've really been doing with the tractor that's interesting. Like I said, mostly it's just pulling small loads around. I wish I would have got moving the boat on video, but you know, it's just my dad and I. We don't have a lot of extra hands to do that kind of stuff. I try to film as much as I can around here, but like I said, it gets very hard. It's just my dad and I. And I figured, instead of putting out bad content, you know, if there's something I feel like I should put on video, like stuff like this, informal videos, I'll do them. But I'm not going to spend my time just to film a video just to put one out, you know. I don't want to put a video out there that you guys aren't going to like. Only useful videos, no really videos that's like, oh, why'd he bother doing this? So that's why I haven't been out posting videos lately. Now it's getting time, towards winter time. I'll be doing a lot of stuff with my Gravely. I'll have a video on that soon of taking the cutting deck off and putting the snowplow on. I might do a video on fixing the snowplow. Every few years I need to sand it down and repaint it because, the salt just eats it up. So I'll be doing that. About this time of year, my dad and I do a model railroad in our basement. It's a hobby my grandfather started with my dad. Now I do it. I've been doing it since I was a baby. I'll put videos on the train layout. So I hope that this video helped you guys. Stay tuned. I'll have hopefully some more content coming your way. So enjoy. So like I said, hope this was helpful. Hope you stick around on the future of this channel. I hope to blow it up and have more content. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, make sure to post them down, comment them down below. Geez, I can't use English today. I also have my email. You can reach out to me, bluethunder284@gmail.com. If you have a certain topic, if you're a Jinma owner, Gravely owner, boat owner, or you just want to say hi or ask a question, and if you want maybe a certain video that covers a certain topic, shoot me an email, drop it down in the comments below. I'm always open to suggestions. So yeah, just anything. If you guys have a question, just let me know. You guys have a good day. I'm out.